It's not a perfect seal, there's a little bit there, but it's small enough that if we wanted to, we can fill it with spray foam. So, he's so good at that. Don't worry, I'll edit that out. I'm not going to edit it out. So here's today's mission. We are in my apartment building. We're working on a kitchen and a bathroom. Big doings. First thing we got to knock out of the way is this bathroom floor was just horrendously sloped from one end to the other. Bathtub had a deep end to the whole deal. So what we're doing here is we're laying down ribs on the floor. Oop. Ribs on the floor. And they got to be shimmed a little bit because the floor isn't just sloping down this way, but it's also got to swale this way. So as you go back across that floor leading up to the bathtub, there are sequentially smaller ribs. And we get down to this point over here, and they're going to get even thicker yet. So how we take care of that is this, just to accommodate for the swale. And we just shim it in the middle, because otherwise if you try to cut a rib to actually match the parabolic shape, you'll drive yourself mad before you have any success. So just better to undercut it a little bit and then shim it back up. You still have all the strength you could possibly need. Our other big challenge with this build is back here behind the tub. I'm going to have to buy some additional lights here for you. This building is built over a crawl space. And as such, the bathtub's on the first floor. The traps dangle down into the crawl space, and they have to have heat tape or whatever, which if the heat tape goes out, you're in trouble. Your tub freezes and then you're sunk. So what I did here is I built a box down there between some of the joists in the floor, sealed that up real nice, and then when I laid the new ply on top, I cut out areas for the pipes to drop through, and then even this ply line that comes from the basement. So I don't know if you can see or not, but I bored a hole in the side of my box, and this will be connected to the pipe that comes up through the floor. That'll still need some heat tape down there in the crawl space, but nothing's perfect. It's going to be better than it was though. Now the other thing that they did to me here right now, these two pipes are where this ply comes up from the crawl space, and they have a tendency to freeze. They got heat pipe down below, but what I discovered one fine winter when I got a panicked call from a tenant was that the pipes actually froze up here in the wall, which usually isn't an issue, but the old insulation that they just stuffed around the pipes retracted over the course of 50 years. And then the cold air was just blowing right up in the wall and freezing everything solid right in the wall. And so basically what my plan here to do is, okay, the bathroom was too wide. You can see the full bathtub fits in here, but I still wind up with this like 8-inch space between the tub and the existing wall. That doesn't need to be there. This bathroom doesn't need to be this big. So I'm just going to frame in a wall in front of the wall. And that's going to take care of all my problems with any cold being able to come up through. And with some use of plywood on the back and drywall on the front, this wall is going to be encapsulated. And so what I'm going to do here, this is my creative solution. There's all the heat ducting goes through the ceiling of this apartment. So I'm simply going to take that, put a 90-degree angle on it, or elbow on it, bring it over here, bring it through there, and then into the new wall. And I'll have a piece of plywood on the back with a hole cut in it, and it'll dump into this chasm. It'll go down, mix around where the pipes where you need it to be, come back up this wall, this chasm, and it'll come across, and all the pipes for supplying the kitchen sink on the other side and the bathroom sink on this side, I'll just take those pipes and run them right through the heating duct. I'm going to have to do a couple of creative things to get the supply lines to shoot out through the wall, but nothing too brain busting. It's got to be a little creative. And then eventually the final the heater vent itself will come out of the wall about here, and which would be a great place to put like a towel bar. And so they're going to wind up with heated towels. And the bathtub itself, the heat isn't contained to like right here. It's contained to the entire perimeter of the bathtub. So the bathtub itself is going to get a little heated in the process. I mean, it's not going to be tremendous, I don't expect. But right now, it's backed up to outside walls. So this tub has the potential to get pretty cold in the wintertime. And this is going to combat that. So what are we looking to accomplish today? I don't have the ribs yet, so I can't finish the floor here, which is okay because this is going to become part of a bigger job. I think I'm going to take it into the kitchen and do floor in there too. But that tub's just sitting there. I'm going to pull the tub and I'm going to put down a bed of mud or drywall compound to support the tub. That's a step a lot of people skip. I think it's really necessary. If you get into your bathtub and you hear the fiberglass like cracking under your weight, it's because somebody skipped that step and they didn't properly support it. A thin little bit of fiberglass like that, it's not meant to hold the weight of a human being, not for any great length of time. But if it's completely supported by a bed of drywall compound, that'll help. So we're going to do that. I'll show you how to do that. That is not where that toilet goes. The toilet actually goes over here. Or will. That's a creative thing. I'll get into that later. And right now, one of my pipes, I couldn't shut it off. Couldn't shut it off completely because the valve kind of sucks. So the end of this pipe I cut off's been dripping. So I took my my shop vac tube, and it just happened to be perfect to reach between there and the toilet bowl hole. So it's been draining into that for a few days now, wasting water. So hopefully we can get that squared away soon. Okay, so the tub's back up, and I'll show you the back here. This is what the tub looks like on the bottom. Got these little details sticking out, and that's all that supports you, and there's a little grid work. So what I'm going to do is down here, I put down some plastic, threw a few staples in it just to hold it into place, and that's just half of a garbage bag. I don't have to buy anything special. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some quick set drywall compound, put it down there in about a 2-inch, give or take, thick layer. So I'll try to go about 2 inches deep with the mud, and hopefully I'll at least catch the very bottom of these, if not into here, but probably at least the bottoms of those. And so it'll be plastic, I'll layer the mud, and then another layer of plastic. And that way, if this ever has to come up, the tub won't be cemented to the floor, and I won't have to take it out in tiny little chips with a jackhammer. It'll just lift right out, and then I can just lift up that piece, and that'll be it. Oh, here we got a better look at this box I made in the floor. I wound up having to. I cut out. There was a joist running right through the middle here, so I had to cut that out. And I actually made that box out of 2x12s and sat it down in the hole, and it just fit between the two joists on this side and this side. And so it's nailed there, it's there. It's secured in there real good. And then when I put my piece of plywood on top, I made it up perfectly. I screwed it all the way around the perimeter to make sure it was sucked up nice and tight and no air could leak through, or very, very little air. And I guess that's about it. Time to mix the mud. So 45 minutes from the time I mix that up and get water in there, it's going to set up hard as a rock. They also make 90-minute mix. They make, I think, a 15-minute mix. I don't know, probably a couple others if you look around different manufacturers. But in the case where you want something to set up quick, that'll do it. It's also good for, you can buy pre-mixed wet compound in a bucket for doing drywall. And that's fine if you're doing 3 coats over 3 days and you got lots of work. But if you're just doing a little spot and you want to come in and do all 3 layers in one day and get it done and get out, you can get this stuff. And you know, you'll need a mixer with a big drill. You can't just use a little one. You got to have a pretty healthy motor to turn this, and you can knock it out real quick. Now remember, the tub can pretty much support itself the way it is, so if we don't get perfect complete coverage everywhere, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so now we're gonna put the other half of the plastic sandwich on there. And then we're gonna set the tub in place. Somewhat delicate. Tubs are not made of glass, but they're not made of iron either. Okay, I'm happy. Okay, things are going surprisingly well. We got rid of the 2x6s and replaced it with just a piece of 3/4 inch ply instead. So we've got a smaller air blockage, I guess we're going to call it. Because remember, the heated air is coming down one side, mixing with the tub valve down there, or the trap assembly down there, and then coming back up to this side. And somewhere along here, let me back this up a little bit. Somewhere along here, I'm going to have to cut out a spot for the heat to continue on its way out. But I don't know where that is yet, so I'm not doing it yet. But otherwise, yeah, this is all fitting snug as a bug in here. It's nice and solid. This is where we're going to hook on our hot and cold PEX lines. And we backed it with 3/4 inch. We had some leftover tongue and groove from the floor. Up top, I still got to mount the shower head 90 yet, but that'll only take a couple of minutes. And otherwise, by the time we make the next cut, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that. We cut that little board to keep air from making its way through from one side to the other. So we're just going to screw that together. It's not a perfect seal, there's a little bit there, but it's small enough that if we wanted to, we can fill it with spray foam. So he's so good at that. Don't worry, I'll edit that out. I'm not going to edit it out. We're about to install the shower, whatever the hell you call this thing. So what we're going to do is we compare it to the depth of the blade, and we're going to have the blade just be just a hair deeper. And then we're going to knock out some wood. Just going to take this guy, screw it in, just like that. Don't really need this one, but I'll put it in anyway. Oh, that's lovely. We got our pipe coming in from the basement crawl space. That'll be a supply line soon, and this is going off to feed the rest of the house. Those got to get connected together, but now they got a little wall in place, I'll be able to decide where those are running. But I guess this is it for tonight. Probably it for this video too. And in the next video, I'll build the rest of the wall.